Good morning, everyone. I will call the Cook County Board of Commissioners regular meeting to order on this day of Tuesday, June 9th at 8:31. We begin our meeting with the pledge. Please rise.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Liberty and justice for all.
Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to accept the agenda as written.
I'll support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion
She seems like
passes
she's far away.
unanimously.
Do we need to do a roll call vote because of someone online?
Yes. I think you do because I'm not on site.
Yeah. So Sullivan, aye.
Gamble, aye.
Storley, aye.
White eye.
Approving the agenda. All right, good.
Okay. Motion approved. At this time, we have an opportunity for the public to come before the board to discuss any questions or comments they would have. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to do that? I see no one at that time. Have any of the commissioners received any comments?
No.
Okay. Motion, moving on then to the consent agenda items. On our agenda, we have the claims and the minutes from the May 26th meeting, a permit for a raffle for MidTrail Property Owners Association, Minnesota DNR State Boat and Watercraft Grant, and the National Park Service Grant. Would anyone like to pull anything? No? Okay, motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda as published.
I'll support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh,
Roll call.
Roll call.
Sullivan, aye.
Gamble, aye.
Storley, aye.
white eye. Oops. Sorry, Jenny.
Motion passes. So at 9 a.m., we're going to have a public hearing, but before we get to that, we can move on to some other items that we have on our agenda, and perhaps we could go to the EDA. So if you come forward, good morning.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Lucas.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here to give you just a couple of quick updates and then answer any questions you may have related to the planned sale of the golf course. I put together a really quick slide deck, but it doesn't have very much material on it. So maybe if you want to just go through it.
1 second.
Oh.
I have to make sure that I'm sharing it with Teams. So that Commissioner White can see it as well. So let's see here. Just give me 1 minute here.
Okay, perfect. So as I'm sure many of you know, and I'll try to quickly sort of refresh everybody's memory on this, part of the process for sale included a right of first refusal. So on the third slide, if you want to quickly jump past the agenda, I have here, starting on March 30, that's when the right of first refusal 90-day period began, and at that time the EDA was not sure whether or not the holders of that right were interested in waiving it prior to the end of the 90-day period. It's beginning to look, as we approach the end of this month when it's going to lapse, that we are going to have the entire 90 days put out. But that kind of put a little bit of softness to the timeline. We weren't exactly sure where everything would be. At the end of the 90-day right of first refusal period, once that lapses, the agreement for sale has a 60-day period for final sort of negotiations. And now that we're getting so close to the end of that, that's what the EDA is primarily focused on, is the final round of negotiations prior to the date of closing. Those negotiations specifically are about provisions in the agreement relating to irrigation and septic work that has to get done prior to the sale of the golf course. To that end, Mike Larson has been sort of fielding a lot of the legwork for that on behalf of the EDA, and then Bar Engineering has been secured to draw up plans and to present all of those. If you're able to go to the next slide. The Water Board met on May 26th to review the plans that Bar Engineering had put forward. There was sort of a couple of meal options, relating to how the situation could be solved. And it's a little complex. Happy to get into it if everybody's interested. But suffice it to say that each of those options has different costs and potentially benefits and drawbacks. Now that we have those plans, and the Water Board has sort of in principle signed off on accepting those, we're going back to various contractors to get more solid numbers on what that's going to cost, at which point we're going to bring all of that, the EDA is going to bring all of those numbers to sort of the final round of negotiations and discuss with the buyer, which of these are you going to accept, understanding that if depending on what is done, it's going to change the process, right? So obviously, if we're above a certain cost threshold, we'd have to go out for bids and that sort of thing. So, that's still a little bit up in the air. We're going to know, a lot more once we're able to begin those negotiations. The problem with having a right of first refusal is you're not even entirely sure until the end of that period who your buyer is, right? So those final negotiations kind of have to wait until that point. So yeah, if you want to go to the next slide, everything I just said, stands. I guess I got ahead of myself. And then the slide afterwards, just a quick update on the loan that the county gave to the EDA. Of the $200,000, $70,000 were provided to Superior National Golf Course in May for their operations. $130,000 is being held sort of held back by the EDA. Potentially with an eye for the costs associated with closing relating to septic and irrigation. And then just a reminder on sort of what was discussed in relation to Gunflint View. Starting in August, the repayment window of the monies that they owe will begin, and then that period will last a full calendar year. So we have not received any money back from them, nor would we have expected to by this point. Given all of that, Commissioners, do you have any questions that I can answer, concerns, or anything else that I can address?
I would have one question, and that would be in the right of refusal, is that done in written form?
So the notice was given in a written form, and then, the window, once it lapses, it just lapses. And I don't believe that any additional notification needs to be given in terms of providing them that the time period has lapsed. But yes. So
that's June 30th, the end of this month.
Right. The end of this month is when that period will lapse, and then that begins the 60-day window for all of the, sort of build out related to what gets us to closing. Now, it's possible, and again, all of this is going to be in relation to those negotiations, that even after the probable date of closing, which would be the end of August, for the actual sale, depending on what the EDA and the buyers negotiate out, there may be some ongoing responsibilities that the EDA would have in order to deliver like an irrigation project. We're not sure yet. It'll depend on what we're able to negotiate out, if that makes sense. And I'm not trying to dodge, but of course, because you're talking about a live negotiation, sort of don't want to hand over too much of the cards that we hold or don't hold, so.
Thank you. Any other board questions?
I just want to thank you for the update. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Commissioner Gamble?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Lucas, for coming without anybody riding shotgun. I have several questions. I have several comments, but I guess what I'd like to do is I'd like to find a time that's convenient for you to sit down and address these.
Sure.
And as decision makers, to facilitate processes, we are asked to review information that comes before us, and then in the context of that understanding, to make decisions. So there's many things in this process. This will be the 5th meeting now related to Superior National and the sale. And I had requested that the update come because I think just the stewardship responsibility we have as decision makers is to be aware where are we at in the process and what is happening. And so many of the things in following this process since its inception, meaning when Howard Hedstrom came initially to speak with us in 2025, I believe, that the issues and the questions that are raised and the things that get discussed here and the things that get discussed in the EDA and the things that get discussed in other areas, those are things that I would like to address. And in the discussion that we had in the follow-up meeting when Peter and Mark had come, there were things that were represented to us for our understanding, and things that have changed in the nature of that is what I'd like to have the conversation on. Just to be sure that that being forthright in how we represent things so that we as decision makers have all the information and know what the process legitimately is very important. And so I could take considerable time this morning to address those things, but I think out of respect for you stepping into the position and being here and you're lonesome, that I'd just like to schedule time to sit down and talk to you.
Certainly, Commissioner. Happy to give you any and all information that I can at any time that you'd like. So absolutely
Thank
be
you.
happy to meet with you.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I guess that's it for now, it sounds like.
Perfect.
Big
Thank
one
you.
come.
Thank you, Commissioners. Really appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we still have a little more time here. Would you like to give your updates?
Sure. And I did send our engineer a text message letting him know that we're moving quickly, so hopefully he'll be here in a few minutes and we can
Okay.
move to his agenda items as well. But I do have a couple updates. The first one is regarding our transfer station. We have a ribbon cutting ceremony planned for the end of June. It's on June 26th from 10 to 1. We have sent out the evites to folks, so we're hoping that we'll have community members as well as all of the representatives that were engaged in the process during that time. So we're really excited about that, and again, anyone and everyone is invited. So we are planning on opening the transfer station sometime likely early July. We're finishing that project, and so we'll have more information on the opening date as we move forward, but we're still looking like it's probably going to be end of June, beginning of July, which is great news. Another event I want to mention is our e-waste collection event, which is this Saturday, June 13th from 9 to 1 at the Recycling Center. So you can bring in your e-waste, so computer, monitors, cords, and things of that nature. So that is free of charge to community members. So wanted to make sure that the community is aware of that. Yeah.
Is it free of charge?
There are some items, I believe, that are free and others that there is a charge for.
Yeah, just.
There's a
because I think
QR code on that flyer or poster, and that shows.
That'll show you?
Yes.
Because I had that conversation with Neva, and sometimes it's been free, but if it's been free, it's been subsidized by the county. Otherwise, there is a charge associated. But if there are items that are accepted that aren't free, but I just wanted to
Let me pull it up
clarify.
just to make sure that I am,
Because of my
clear
last
on what I'm
conversation with her,
communicating.
she said there
Yeah.
was fees associated with it, but
So is that how it'll be in the newspaper? Will people have to go to a QR code in the
Yeah.
newspaper?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it was already published.
and then it'll show what is and what isn't.
Correct.
Having a charge associated. Yeah.
yeah,
I just wanted to be
Okay.
sure that it wasn't.
thank you for that.
Wasn't that it's free and people come and all of a
Sure,
sudden go,
sure.
whoa.
Yeah, I apologize for that.
No,
It is a
that's okay.
cost-effective way to safely dispose of electronic waste, batteries, lamps, and small appliances that should not go into regular household trash. So there are some items that it looks like there is no cost, and others that there is a small fee associated with it.
Did you have a comment, Jana?
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you,
and I just
Jana.
want to, if people weren't aware, the most recent Community Connections article, every week, the county tries to have a County Connections article in the newspaper. Last week, Neva Maxwell had an article that shared about this event in detail, and it was really helpful to me even, because I think she even mentions, if you've got a junk drawer at home with random cords that you're not sure what they go to, I believe that they accept things like that too. So I would encourage anybody to either grab the most recent newspaper or go to the Cook County website and read Neva's article. It's informative, and there's even some humor in it as well, but you'll learn a lot about this collection event. So
Excellent.
just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Jana.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the next item I wanted to mention is, as many of you know, we were planning on a courthouse space building workshop on Monday, and that was postponed due to our architect needing to postpone that. I am working on a new date. We met with some of our directors yesterday to look at calendars, and so I hope to get that date out to all of you commissioners before the end of the day today. So, moving forward with that soon. And then I also wanted to mention, and Commissioner Storley, I'm sure you'll talk about some of the events coming up as well, but wanted to mention that next week is a very, very busy week. We have an event, a county community event every night. And so the first one is the Taconite Harbor public meeting on Monday, June 15th from 4 to 7. That's at the Schroeder Town Hall. And so the goal of this meeting is to share the advisory committee's findings and recommendations for the future of Taconite Harbor site. So that's on Monday, and then on Tuesday is the EDA presentation regarding Taconite Harbor at 4 o'clock at the City Hall. Wednesday, we have our Association of Minnesota Counties District 1 event in Lutzen. And that's the one I'm assuming you're going to talk a little bit about, Commissioner Storley, so I'll let you carry that one, but wanted to mention that we have that all day on Wednesday. And then Thursday evening, we have the County Board of Appeals and Equalization. So it'll be a busy, very busy week.
It will be, yes. In fact, on Tuesday evening at Charlie's, at 6 o'clock, as the other folks come in from the other counties, we'll be meeting informally. And then Wednesday morning, back in behind Moguls at the Event Center from 8 to noon is our meeting with everyone from AMC. Then I scoot off to a garden club meeting, and on it goes down to Duluth, and I won't be back till Friday, so it is a busy week.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, that's everything that I have. Thank you.
Okay. So I don't know, Robbie, we are going to be breaking at 9 o'clock for a meeting, but can you do something in 10 minutes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty non-controversial. So
I know, yeah.
probably do it off the top of my head.
Come forward and try our new chair.
Yeah, look at these.
Woo.
It's fancy. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning.
I will say, I don't know the order of the two agreements we have. Is the first one the local road improvement one?
Multi-use trail
Oh,
project.
other one. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Great. So, yeah, the first one, it's a grant agreement for the multi-use trail. It's a funding source. I believe it's the active transportation one, and so we're going to start construction on that here this summer. It'll wrap up before school starts. Does anybody have any questions about it?
I'm just excited it's finally going to happen. And at that cost.
Yes.
Yeah, be great. Commissioner Gamble?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for showing up early. We'll get you out of here. And make a motion to sign the grant agreement for $132,590 of active transportation program funds for SP 016-612-081/SP 016-615-004. I'm sure you got that.
Support.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
Aye.
Paul?
Sullivan, aye.
Gamble, aye.
Storley, aye.
White, aye.
Thank you, motion passes. And then the next one, agreement on the Gunflint 92s project?
Yes, another agreement, slightly more money at this point in time, but yes, it was a local road improvement grant. It's a state-funded grant. It'll go towards the Gunflint 92s project. I believe that one was for about $1.5 million. Again, that will start later this summer. We're thinking early August, and that'll wrap up by mid-October. So, does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
Mr. Sullivan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wondering when we're going to have, or if perhaps you haven't scheduled it yet, but if you have, do you know the date of when we'll have a community meeting up there to inform everyone of the
Yes,
project?
no date is set yet. We'll get it scheduled in the last half of June. I'm hoping June, early July, just with the later construction date. I want to have as much information in front of me as I can to bring that to a public meeting. So then if people have questions about, an example is, the updated detour, how there isn't one anymore,
Right.
and everyone can stay on the Gunflint, stuff like that. So I would say the later part of June or early July is when we can plan to have one up there.
All right, thank you very much.
Very welcome.
With that, I'd like to make a motion to recommend that we sign the grant agreement for $1.5 million for the project between the 92s.
Support?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sullivan, aye.
Gamble, aye.
Storley, aye. Motion
White,
passes.
aye.
And White, yes. Motion passes. There we are.
Thank you all very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ravi.
All righty. Well, we still have about 8 minutes.
We can do some updates.
We could go to updates. Sure. Anybody want to update anything, meetings they've been to?
Well, I have several, as usual. So, at the end of last month, I participated, along with many other people, in a mock evacuation at the area near our Fire Hall 2 by Gunflint Lake. And the group provided some very interesting scenarios during their mock evacuation, including an individual who was refusing to evacuate and had a loaded firearm, someone who encountered a vicious dog when they tried to get inside of a cabin to notify people of evacuation, a person stranded in a campground with no vehicle to evacuate in. Another scenario was an injured firefighter who fell through a rotten deck board while trying to knock on a cabin door. Another firefighter that experienced a dead battery on their radio. And finally, a family with children refusing to evacuate their cabin, and it required a deputy physically removing the young people, which they are legally authorized to do. And I was really impressed with not only the work of the volunteer firefighters and the EMTs and our deputies and search and rescue personnel, but I really appreciated their after-action discussion. It was very thorough. They talked about what they could do to improve or to change, make things more efficient and more safe, and I just really want to take my hat off to the Gunflint Trail Fire Department for annually having these mock evacuations. They really help for our community to feel at ease and to really know that there are plans and preparation in place, and it helps them to better prepare as they may need to evacuate. Another thing that I did was attend our Firewise meeting, and one of the exciting things is we may have a new Firewise community developing up near Sag Seagull, and our Firewise coordinator will be going up with me later on this summer to talk to individuals about organizing that community. We do want to notify the public to make sure that when they are putting brush in the Firewise pits that are located throughout the community, it is brush. We have had carpeting, garbage being put into our Firewise pits, and it's really inappropriate and costs a lot of money to remove that. And so we want to remind people it is just for your downed trees, for brush, and for contractors that are doing and providing those services to our Firewise communities. We had our Rainy River, Vermilion River One Watershed, One Policy Committee meeting, and we transferred $200,000 from the Lake and St. Louis County funds to help with culvert work on the Gunflint Trail. So that helps our Firewise department in that area of the Rainy River, Vermilion River at the end of the trail, and we really appreciate that transfer of funds. Soil and Water had their meeting recently. They shared their 2027 budget that they're working on, and they will be making that presentation to us at a committee of the whole meeting in the future. And then lastly, on Saturday, we had our Gunflint Trail cleanup annual event. We had 150 people participate from basically the water tower all the way to the end of the Gunflint Trail. Our highway department, I want to thank Engineer Hass and his crew for going out yesterday and picking up all the trash bags, tires. There was an air conditioner, part of an old boat trailer with a 2003 license tab on there. And I found a golf club from the 1930s. It was a mid-mashie before the irons were numbered. So we found a number of very interesting things along the Gunflint Trail. But the one thing we didn't find many of, and I'm so excited to say this, are cigarette butts. This has been the primary thing we've picked up over the years, and of course, with how dry it is, we always worry about wildfires, and very few cigarette butts were found this year, so that is a huge improvement. And that would be the end of my report. Commissioner Gamble.
Thank you. We met yesterday, the University of Minnesota Extension. Extension began in 1909, so they're celebrating 100 years, and the presentation was on agricultural business management. And their sole purpose is basically to keep farmers in business. So they come alongside farmers, they can help them with ways to be more productive. They do cost comparisons with different states in farming so that you can see how can somebody do it that inexpensively. And they also help with tax preparation and just knowing how you want to organize your business so that you can take advantage of tax incentives. And the presentation discussed the transition from family farms, which back in 1909, you can imagine there's a lot of family farms compared to where we are right now. And we've seen the fall off on the number of farms as well as commercial farms that are buying up family farms. So it was very informative. We also had a presentation from a gentleman that talked about the aquifer, and one of the committee members from Extension mentioned, which I affirmed, that our Soil and Water does an excellent job in understanding our water up here, and both in the aquifer and through the One Water, One Management Plan. And so there's various, within the 87 counties, you can imagine there's various degrees of expertise and there's changeover, but we've had consistency in that department, and we also have passion in that department. So it's something that serves us well.
Thank you.
The last thing we talked,
Thank
I'm
you,
sorry.
Jim. Yeah, it's 9 o'clock, so thank you. We'll have you continue. Okay. So it's 9 a.m. I will call the meeting to order, public hearing at 9 a.m., and I'll turn it over to Brady.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the public hearing is about a request to enlarge the Rosebush Hill Subordinate Service District. And I've prepared a resolution in the event that you would so approve that after the public hearing. But a summary, the current property owners in Rosebush Hill Subordinate Government Service District would like to expand the district to include an additional 11 properties. The road section currently being serviced would not be affected by the change. The size of the district that benefits from the services on that road section would be enlarged. The property owners in that district
Rosebush Hill are part of the ongoing discussion on subordinate service districts and are aware that no decisions have been made on the future of the districts. So those talks and meetings will continue regardless of what happens here today. So, and I guess we'll open it up for the public.
Would you like to come forward?
My name is Rick Hahn. I am the liaison for the Rosebush Hills Service District. First of all, I'd like to thank Brady in particular, and Kristen and Kyle Oberg and Mike Keyport. They've all been involved in this. Just a little background history. There's a map. I don't know if you can by chance put that map up on the screen.
We have them in our packet.
It's in our
Okay,
packet.
all right.
Yeah.
So if you were to look at that map, effectively, there was a east side development done by John Levine back in, and then Nelson and Matheson owned properties north of the Levine property. And that road going straight all the way up, which is the territory we're now trying to create, was originally under a 1987 easement agreement on Rosebush Hill Road. The terms of that easement agreement provided for all properties contiguous to that road to have access rights through that easement agreement. Then the west side began to get developed, and a series of other easement agreements were written, many of which probably could be argued are unauthorized and conflicting, certainly, with access rights. I've been a property owner now for almost 30 years there, I think the longest standing one, and it's literally been a bad situation as far as property owners and disputes as to who's paying for what and what rights they do or don't have. So we embarked last fall to fix this, and it became an effort that Dave Mills assisted me in, and I approached him, and we took more of the approach of, if this was now a planned development, how would these roads have been allocated essentially to the property owners? So we're in effect bifurcating, separating Coyote Road from Rosebush Hill Road. And we have a new amended easement agreement that is now in the process of getting distributed to all 18 property owners of Rosebush. They will all sign, they've all contributed to the legal costs of this, and we're finally bringing the debate as to access rights, I think, to a very clear conclusion. We have one property that sale is pending because a title company wouldn't sign off on the access rights as they existed prior to us fixing this. So we're in the process of fixing that. So in that the service district still exists, Brady clarified for me that there's a difference between the actual service district that's being maintained and the territory that is serviced through that. So all we're trying to do is expand the territory, because all of these property owners' only access to their property will be going up Rosebush Hill to what will now be named, the upper part will be named Trillium Trail. That's at the request of Kyle Oberg for mapping purposes. I might also point out that the county has never been comfortable with the mapping the way it was done, and for emergency vehicles and other things, so they wanted this clarity as well. So there's a driveway that was kind of referred to as Lone Pine that goes up onto off of Coyote. That will be the East Coyote Road, the remaining East Coyote Road. And then Rosebush and the upper part will be Trillium Trail and Rosebush combination. So all of that mapping is in process, I believe, and new fire stop numbers will have to be sequenced off of Rosebush for the people on the upper end, so that emergency responders have very clear, mapping to get to properties for fire and or safety.
Are there trilliums up there?
I don't know how Kyle came up with that name. That was his request. So.
Anyway, it goes along with the flower, I guess.
Yeah. Any questions?
I just want to thank you for taking on this initiative. It's not an easy task. I had looked at property up in that area and became aware of some of the issues that were occurring. So I really appreciate you taking on that challenge, and for everybody coming together to work together for a very reasonable, common sense solution.
Yes, thank you. And it was, Bill Finnerty worked hard, Bob Evans is here, he represents the coyote side, so we met 9 months ago. It took a long time to get this to where it is, but we're very, very close to the finish line. And again, I want to for sure thank Brady. He's been my voice of reason throughout this whole process to try to get this in place in the amended agreement. If the service district goes away, then we'll deal with those precautions. Hopefully, we'll be able to figure out a way to keep it to survive. Thank you.
I have another.
Okay.
Yeah, Commissioner Gamble.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Brady, I think in your opening remarks, you commented on the subordinate district issue that we are addressing as a board overall, and no determination has been made on that. My wife and I, when we moved up here, we were on Rosebush, on the lower leg that goes down to the shore, and Bob Block was responsible for handling, that maintenance both in the winter and the summer. But moving forward and looking at things that are reasonably informed and participation, both financially and from an information standpoint to inform direction is a good thing. And we as commissioners in the position that we sit in, when we see a community or group of individuals come together and put forward something to where there is participation and commitment to that, that's also a healthy thing that I feel is easy to support, with the caveat that we're looking at this in the bigger context. But I appreciate the work and the recognition of county staff that have contributed to this process.
Yes.
Commissioner White, did you have any questions?
No,
Okay,
no, I'm sorry, I don't know what my hands were doing. So no, I
Okay.
do not.
okay.
I might just add, I am in the working group also on the
Okay,
on
good.
the future of the service districts. So
Okay. There being no other questions or comments from anyone, I will close the public hearing, and we'll further discuss the resolution. Commissioner Sullivan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I think this is really a common sense request. I think we've heard a lot of history and information to make us aware of the current situation and the work that has gone into this. And given that, I'd like to make a motion that by resolution, we expand the Rosebush Hill Subordinate Governmental Service District to include an additional 11 properties.
I would support that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sullivan, aye.
Gamble, aye.
Storley, aye. Motion passes
White,
unanimously.
aye.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gamble, did you want to continue on with your,
Thank you, Madam Chair.
wherever your thoughts were?
I was just going to say that the last thing we discussed at the extension meeting was budget, given that departments and government entities are to have their budget in by the end of this month, and then do a presentation to the board. And so the University of Minnesota Extension, serving the 87 counties throughout the state, they sort of have a governing body that makes a recommendation in the context of the big picture, because there's nuance that exists, and certainly there was when our extension service was formatted differently because of longstanding service in that position. So they're coming with a 3% recommendation, and for the 2027 budget. It was requested by the committee that there would be a breakdown that would reflect how that 3% is spent. And while it is difficult, given the fact that it is a lump sum that distributed differently, to the extent that we can find out how those funds are spent, would be beneficial, and the committee felt that was important. The situation we have in that partnership is really, we have a choice because we have a 3-year contract. And so if we want a different language in the contract, that contract will end with the 2027 year. Then we will negotiate a new 3-year contract. So if we wanted to put language in there that would be more detailed relative to our evaluation of increases, that would be beneficial. Right now, it's a situation where we approve that we will adhere to the contract, and that means that 3% is what will be proposed and come before the board. But we have asked for a breakout to the extent that it's possible, so that when both the committee looks at it and we look at it, we have a better understanding of what 3% means. I use the example of the library, which we have a contract with our library. And the library contract says that they can increase budget 5% annually unless commissioners ask for a review and question that increase of 5%. And I think it's healthier to have a detailed evaluation than it is to just have a presentation come in that has a contract commitment to 5%, because there's a lot of organizations that would love to have a 5% increase annually. So it's incumbent on us as commissioners to review budgets and understand contract terms. So again, this budget and contract with the University of Minnesota is a 3-year contract, and it'll renew in 2028 for the next 3 years. The other thing I would mention is, and maybe some of you have seen this, is they came from NACO. And I think it's interesting, looking at it from the budget standpoint, that the Office of Management and Budget has proposed sweeping changes to uniform guidance. And in coordination with all federal grant-making agencies, the uniform guidance is the regulation that governs federal grant rules for all recipients of federal lands, or federal funds, rather. And so we are looking at our processes, and I think it's interesting and affirming to see that the Office of Management and Budget is also looking at reforming how they go about distributing taxpayer dollars. So that would be it. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner White, did you have any updates on meetings?
The primary one was just the hub, the Council on Aging, and they have hired, oh no, I can't remember his name.
Jim Boyd.
They've hired,
Jim Boyd.
Yes, Jim Boyd, to seek all whatever grant funding is out there for nonprofits, and he's been doing a great job. And they've got a plethora of ideas as to how to advertise the hub and to expand the services, and an idea that is in the early stages, and Jim is going after funding for this. It would be an intergenerational, oh sugar, hold on. Sorry. It would be an intergenerational interviews between grade school youth in the county and important elders in their lives. And it's a contest, it's a huge thing and then resulting in a book to have a moment in time. These are our kids, and this is where they came from. So that's one huge thing. And the other one was they would like to know specifically, they're anticipating coming before the board, us, in July, if that's adequate, or if you'd like them sooner, with a detailed financials and of what they actually offer at this moment in time. So can I give them like first week in July? Do we know yet?
Can I respond?
We can respond to them and try to figure out a board meeting agenda that works best to have them come and present in the near future. So we'll take care
Okay,
of that.
because they're, okay. And then the other one was the active living. Robbie was there, Christine Matson, talking about trails that we have and opportunities for community members to be active with their feet. And always much of the same, but always very positive about how mobile at least a great portion of our community continues to be. So that's about it. It's been really slow for me.
Okay, thank you on that. Anybody else think of anything additional? The only thing I can mention is that I did go on the radio with Callie. I did request that maybe we need a kind of a review and updating. What does it mean to be a commissioner? So I spent quite a few minutes with her talking about the practical stuff and then the boring stuff, and just want people to know that it is a commitment and it affects the families, and but it's also very rewarding too, and went over the fact that there are a lot of boards and commissions that require a lot of attention and so forth, and so hopefully the candidates who are running will be able to have a better idea if they listen about what their commitment would be for the 4 years that they would be selected. If there are no other updates or reports, then I will go on to the update of the meetings. There again, we have the open house at Taconite Harbor on Monday, June 15th from 4 to 7. And then we will have our Association of Minnesota district meetings. We're District 1, so we always get to be the first one on their agenda, which they seem to enjoy. And that's on Wednesday, June 17th. And then just a really heads up that the courthouse will be closed on June 18th, which is Juneteenth, which will be for the 18th of June. The courthouse will be closed. And then...
Commissioner Storley,
Yes,
I believe that's the 19th,
Oh,
Friday the 19th.
okay, June 18th, Juneteenth on the 19th.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. I thought it was on the 18th, Juneteenth on the 18th, no?
I will double check with HR, but I have it on my calendar as the 19th, and I'm
Okay.
looking
I
at
did
our
too.
staff here, who
Okay.
I think also have.
Is it?
Is that correct?
Okay. So the Juneteenth is on the 19th, okay. And then we have in our packet the correspondent memos of the lodging tax comparison through March 26th. And we have recognition of staff. So we have June anniversaries. Andrew Happel from Sheriff's Office, 1 year. Elsa Lundy, Sheriff's Office, 1 year. Erica Turns, Public Health and Human Services, 1 year. Mike Crusoe, Human Resource, 1 year. Sean Bergman, Deputy Sheriff, 2 years. Margaret Johnson, Public Health, 2 years. Anna Klobuchar, Community Center, 2 years. Katie Page, Public Health and Human Services, 2 years. Isabel Sheehan, Public Health, Human Services, 7 years. Callie Berg, Auditor Treasurer, 9 years. And Rachel Espy, Assessors, 12 years. We also have milestones. Andrew Beavers, Land Services, 5 years. Tyler Johnson, Land Services Recycling, 5 years. And Jean Peterson, Attorney, 5 years. And there be no other business, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You off and running?
I have to sign a document and have it